Hello everybody, it's Bubba Rob. How's it going? Good, I hope. Fantastic. It's a beautiful day. God, the skies are blue. It's a Sunday morning. You'll see this on a Monday, but it's a Sunday. It's a beautiful day. I was so glad to get up. Um, Geez, what do I want to talk about today? Well, a couple things, but I think the main topic today is actually just going to be about life, and it's a little bit more of a mindful thing than a stoic thing, I would think. Because I was asking myself this morning when I was meditating, I'm like thinking, oh God, have I wasted my life? Have I wasted part of my life? Like, what am I doing? You know, it's like, oh God. Later this month I gotta go for an echocardiogram, and it's kind of made me quite a bit reflective when you go in for something like that, because I do know I do have a partial blockage, and it's last time they checked it wasn't big enough for them to do like an angioplasty or a valve replacement or anything like that. But it's close enough to cause you to stir what sort of stuff you got in your short, so to speak, right? So anyway, I've been thinking about, well, life, and what's going on, and I think of things that have happened, and what could I have changed. And what I have to come back to, it doesn't really matter what's happened. The only thing that matters is actually right now. The fact that I get up each day, I try and be as happy as I can, and really try and focus on, well, one, I keep saying about being kind to myself, but I really have to focus on keeping my mind off of stuff that's happened in the past that causes my head to spin. This is something that I think we all do, but it's very important really to work on disassociating yourself with the things that have gone wrong. I'm not saying you should necessarily forget about it, learn from it, make improvements, and move on. But if you're living too much with that swirling around in your head, it's just going to make life much, much more difficult. I don't know how many times I've talked to friends or somebody in the coffee shop or whatever that just can't get over that. I don't quite understand it. I understand, well, I do understand it because I do it, but I don't understand why it's so prevalent as it is now. I mean, I went and got myself some chicken last night, and I was sitting in the car, and where I was sitting in the car was actually pretty close to a liquor store, actually. And what blew my mind, it's not that, I'm not saying people shouldn't drink. I've drank in my life. I don't anymore, but if that's what you want to do, you do. But what I couldn't understand is, out of all the stores in that mall, it was the busiest place. And I started thinking about it. Why is it so busy? And I kind of passing judgment a bit, which I shouldn't do. And you don't really know what's going on with people. And I just started thinking, well, why would you go to the liquor store, that many people? And I think a lot of it is just, well, you want to have a good time and you want to forget things. Well, then I started thinking, why do I need a substance to have to let go. You know, it's just not how we should really live our life. You know, I was there's a lady that pulled in. Her daughter was driving. She had the learner's license sticker on the back of her car, and I'm thinking, oh, here's a good place to have your daughter drive to for a driving lesson. Are you 3 sheets to the wind already that you couldn't drive? I don't know. I don't know. It's just kind of funny, but you know, the one thing I know I did with my kids growing up, they're you know, they're adults now, but one thing I'm quite proud of myself, that they never saw me under the influence or intoxicated. I just didn't allow it. You know, I didn't want them to grow up thinking that was the way to how to deal with problems. So, you know, I guess I'm getting a little bit off topic here, but I usually do. But yeah, getting back to whether or not I've wasted part of my life, and I guess what I've come to realize, like, yeah, I have. Sure, you bet. Haven't we all? How much time have I got left? Well, I think on the 21st, that's going to tell me a part of that answer. But then again, it's as good as I can make it, and I'm bound and determined to do that, and I hope everybody else does too. And that's why I you know, I restarted this channel and given my chats, you know, sometimes daily. It depends what I feel like. I don't know. I don't know exactly how consistent I'm going to be from here to the future or from now on, but you know, there's things I like to discuss. You know, what can we do is to improve as human beings, and what can we do for our youth for them to improve, right? That's just it. Anyways, the message is kind of short today, and yeah, I've wasted part of my life. I've come to grips with that, but what's important is today that I'm here. Tomorrow may never come, right? Don't worry about it. Anyways, the most important thing in this life, to be a good person, a good stoic, good whatever yours is. Be kind to yourself. And make sure when you give your word to somebody, or to yourself more importantly, you do your best to fulfill that, right? Because the day we leave here, you don't want to leave with any regrets, okay? Okay, thank you so much. Have a great day. Bye-bye.